My name is Chief Bat Azubike Madibuko. I am a native of Okeiti, the South Local Government of Anambra State. I am the two-time Executive Chairman of Shopping Centre, Aba, presently the Grand Patron, stroke Diamond Father of that very market. Beside me is Mr. Innocent Anosike, is the Mayor of Ekeoha Shopping Centre. And by my left is Mr. Augustine Okeke, the present Executive Assistant Secretary of that market. Why we are here today is in respect of the remodeling of Ekeoha Shopping Centre, which the Governor of His Excellency flagged off on August 8, 2024. And as a result of the way the remodeling is going, it was not the vision of His Excellency that is going on in that very market. And that is why we have come here today to give full details so that His Excellency and the Aba community will know actually the true position of things. The position of things is that when His Excellency flagged off the remodeling of that very market on August 8, it's like traders were not happy with the remodeling of that very market. And a lot of traders felt they would contest the issue in court, which of course they went to court. The meeting that was summoned by the SA in respect of that very remodeling was ignored by the traders. But we, who believe in His Excellency, we now have to appeal to the traders to sheet their sword. Let us go for the meeting where the modalities for the remodeling will take place. It was a hectic challenge on our own side to appeal to those who are against the remodeling to believe in His Excellency's vision. So later on, they accepted, and I personally constituted a committee that will represent the traders in that very tripartite committee meeting. The tripartite committee meeting is comprised of the ministry, the developers, and the traders. We have 7 men in that very committee representing the traders. Of course, the chairman and the secretary was a government appointee in that very market. So that was how we started. And in the course of that very meeting, it's really unfortunate that things kept going wrong from day one. While we were busy trying to make sure that the remodeling has a clear vision of what His Excellency had in mind, the fact remains that the remodelers were not given the necessary cooperation needed for that very exercise. So they started by way of demolition. And what we were made to understand is that the market will be in phases. It will take 6 phases to be completed. And that was what His Excellency said. In the process of phase 1, all those people affected in the areas that will be demolished will be provided a place where they will be temporarily allocated. And after the construction of that very phase, the traders will be asked to go back to their various places where they were displaced. But when the demolition started, it's really unfortunate that there was this demolition spree that was going on in that very market. After the first demolition, we were waiting for construction to take place. Nothing happened. Another demolition started. And in the course of all these demolitions, It's on record that the displaced traders were not given a place where they will be putting up their wares, pending when the construction will take place. As a matter of fact, he took the SA to His Excellency on Commerce and Investment, Chief Maka Irim, and the Commissioner, and with the members of the Tripartite Committee, to impress on the developers to start construction, since a lot of demolition have taken place and traders affected have no place to stay. The GM's market, which was provided for them, was a place that could not accommodate up to 200 traders. So, as at that very time, over 1,000 traders were displaced. So, when the traders are now watering around in agony, in pains, so we continue to impress on them to be patient, that sanity will at last take place. As we were having our meetings that last year, it took the SA and the SA for Trade and Investment, Chief Maka, and the Honorable Commissioner, including we members of the Tripartite Committee, to come inspection on the site. And on 3 occasions, we pleaded with the developers to at least give that very construction a human face, so that His Excellency would be happy with his vision. But on each occasion, they will promise to start construction, they will not start. So in the last meeting and inspection, which the Commissioner and the SA on Trade and Investment came to that very site, I personally had to plead with the remodelers to please, for the last time, start off this construction, because as at that time, so much demolition has taken place. And when I intended to kneel down before the man who claimed to be the engineer, he now asked me that as an elderly man that I should not kneel down for him. I told him that if he looks around, he will see the grievances in the faces of the traders. As at that time, during that inspection, the slogan then was, that was the chanting that was renting the air by women around there and men as well. That enough demolition has taken place. Please start off. And they now promised for the last time. That was on 13th of December that they were going to start construction. We left believing that construction will take place. Surprisingly, he came back on the 17th of December, which was on a Tuesday, only to discover that a lot of areas have been marked again for demolition. This was what triggered off tension in the market. And we discovered that the chief executive of the Rhino Homes, who has always claimed that he's not binding on the decisions of the Tripartite Committee, because he has not attended for one day, even though he has been invited on several occasions. So, took the chairman of the market, including some other individuals, to one hotel, West Suites Hotel, beside Margaret Avenue, where he went there and then compromised with them, and then marked a lot of places for that demolition. So when this thing happened, as the grand patron of the market, I had to invite the chairman of the market. Are you aware of this demolition that is about to take place again? Initially, he claimed ignorance. After much pressure, he now accepted. I said, why will you go into a meeting with the chairman or the CEO of the Rhino Homes? You have committed yourself now, and see what is now about to take place. What explanation do you have to take to tell the traders? So he felt that He has played into his hands. Nevertheless, I said, we are going to stop that further demolition. It was just 3 days that these people were asked to stop further demolition and start work. But unfortunately, when we left for our Christmas holidays, I was in my home celebrating Christmas when I was told that these people have started another demolition. In fact, that latest demolition cost a lot of lives. People lost their lives in that market. It was a thing of regret. And people felt sick due to frustration. And I want to tell you that ever since then, the market has not regained itself again. So when we came down for January, and saw what has happened, that was when we now knew that things have started falling apart. I impressed on the chairman to summon a meeting for us to now address the issue. Because of his commitment, he was unable to summon that very meeting. I pleaded with him that the traders are now tensed up and we need to address the tension in that very market. He kept on giving one excuse or the other. Even the tripartite committee meeting, which we normally hold, no longer holds. That was when we discovered that what the developer was doing, he was more concerned with the rods which he was cutting away in the course of demolition and people's gates which were being cutted away and not doing what he's supposed to do. So that was how we now started to go into serious problem in that market. As of today, the situation in that market is that when we now saw that things are no longer working out, we now have to write His Excellency in a letter dated 20th of March 2025. The letter was addressed to His Excellency Dr. Alex Chiomoti, OFR, the Executive Governor of Abia State, Office of the Governor, Government House, Umuahia. This letter was sent to Government House, Umuahia, and was acknowledged as remodeling of Ekeoha Shopping Centre that called for executive intervention by His Excellency to stop further delay in the execution of the project. The exercise continued. Later on, they started work. When they now started work, it's on record that even though the work was very slow, that there was a meeting that we had on April 9 at Umuahia, whereby we now have to agree on certain modalities. One of the modalities was that there will be no further demolition in that market, and that people who were displaced should be provided a place for relocation. And the tripartite committee remodelers, the remodelers of the market, were given 8 months to complete the first phase, and it will be done 100%. And the affected traders will be given first choice refusal for them to go and pack into their places, and that they will be given 1 month after completion for them to pay for their various shops, after which whoever that fails will be compensated and allowed to go, and then after first choice refusal. That was our agreement. In the course of the pricing, the traders now said, since it is going to be to international standard, that of our international market, initially we started with 4 million naira, but when they kept on impressing on we, the traders, that the standard will be to area standard. We now said that area started with 4-5 million, but let us go for 6 million since it will be to that very standard. They now insisted on 10 million, which we refused. I want to let you know that while that very project is going on, we now discover that what is being built is substandard. It is not the standard of area, and that was the standard we offered 6 million. If you go to that market and see things for yourself, you will observe that the one that the Jimba's authorities built is even of a more higher quality than what is taking place. And you can demolish a standard quality edifice and then build a substandard one. So that was where we now had a bitter shock, or do I call it a shock, of what is going on in that market. I want to tell you that if you go down to that very market, you will discover that the shop that is being built, let me call it store, it is not shop. If you raise your hand, you will just touch the decking of that very new one that is being built. But the one at the market that is being demolished, if you raise your hand, even the shop, the fan in your shop, you cannot raise your hand there. And we began to wonder, is this the standard which they are building to us? So that was what prompted another petition to His Excellency. When we now discovered that things are not going on well, we now wrote a letter to His Excellency. This letter was delivered, acknowledged on 28 May 2025. This is the caption of that letter. His Excellency, Dr. Alex Chioma Oti, OFR, Executive Governor, Abia State. Dear sir, the imperative of directing an immediate stop to further work at remodeling of Ekeoha Shopping Centre, Aba, until fundamental issues are resolved. So this letter was addressed to him, where we narrated all that is going on in that very market. So we were hoping that we will now be invited, because we implored on His Excellency to please, as a matter of urgency, pay us a visit to see things for himself, since everything is not working as he has planned. So when we now wrote that very letter to His Excellency, as at that time, the developers have already started selling shops which they are building for traders to outsiders. We have available evidences which we are prepared to prove beyond reasonable doubt. And we now began to wonder, these are shops that are being built for the traders, and you people have started selling it to outsiders. And where do you feel those traders you are building will now stay? And you promise that the shops will be given back to their owners. Then, after selling these shops, where will those people get back their shops? So you will now discover that a lot of propagandas is busy going on in that very market, as to divert the attention of His Excellency in what is happening. And the traders are not happy. So, before you know it, they now went and cornered the chairman of the market with two other, his secretary and one other member, while we were not aware. They invited us for a meeting when we are not around. I myself, I was in Mure attending an inaugural lecture of Professor Mokolo when I got a circular meeting that we have been invited for a meeting the following day at Umuahia. And I now called on the SA, at least, if you are someone who knows for a meeting, you at least give us at least 3 or 4 days notice. How can you someone not for a meeting within 48 hours, less than 48 hours? It was when we came back that I realized that that meeting was a game plan, where they now cornered the chairman, to go and sign an MOU, Memorandum of Agreement, on behalf of the traders, which we, the Tripartite Committee, has not agreed. As at that time, there was a complaint which we gave to His Excellency. I mean, there was an agreement which we submitted to the Tripartite Committee, our own overview of how the agreement should protect all the parties involved. This agreement was submitted to them. They now promised that they will hand it over to the FAL legal for him to come and to go and study. The overview of memorandum of agreement between Government of Abia State, Nigeria, and Rhino Homes and Properties Limited and Ekeoha Market Traders Association for the remodeling and reconstruction of Aba Shopping Centre, Aba. When I started to read this very our own side of the agreement, which was prepared by our lawyer, they said it's better I give them a copy so that they will go and take note of it and incorporate it inside the agreement which government intends to do, after which they will now hand over a copy to us to now go and relate with our traders. This has not taken place before they started selling those shops. They were not fully prepared for that very job. So that was why they now ran into problem. By way of they began to make announcements over the air that construction is seriously on air, that people should come and start paying, and in order to get money for that very exercise, thereby denying the traders who were made to understand that the shops are being built for them. They started collecting money. I personally confronted the chairman. Are you aware of this exercise that is going on? He now confirmed that the people paying for that shops are paying through the Rhino Homes. I said, but Rhino Homes, if they are paying through Rhino Homes, it is wrong. What of the fate of the traders whose shops were demolished and were made to understand that the shops are being built for them? Now that they have started collecting money upfront, how do you guarantee the welfare of those very traders? So that was the situation. Even when that exercise was going on, they now introduced that people should submit forms whose shops are being remodeled, and that they should pay 50,000 naira for screening of those very forms. That was when he now cried loud. And His Excellency, on hearing it, since he's a listening governor and he's a trader-friendly governor, he now directed immediate stop to that very 50,000 naira that is being extorted from the traders, and that those who have paid should be refunded immediately. I went on air with members of my tripartite committee, excluding the chairman of the market and his secretary, which we know have compromised. We went to Magic FM and BCA to thank the Excellency for his prompt intervention in ordering for that very return of that 50,000 naira. But I want to tell you that as of today, nothing has taken place. The refund has not been done. And they have kept creating the impression that people have been refunded. I want to tell you that not a single person has been refunded. That is to tell you the dubious act of these very people. And that was why they were in a hurry to go and sign this very memorandum of agreement in our absence, without even waiting for us to study what they have submitted and then address our traders whom we are representing. Because it's really unfortunate that all those things were not being done behind the traders. The traders have been anxious to know actually our representation there. And for the fact that there is so much tension in that very market, we have kept on pleading with them to hold on, let us agree with these people. But it was when the MOA was signed by these three people that everything burst. And then the traders now say they now know that a good representation has not been taken place. So we now have to write His Excellency once again. The matter that went to court, we were not among those who went to court. Okay. The people who went to court were people against the remodeling. And it is we who impressed on them to withdraw the matter from court, since we have implicit confidence in His Excellency that we believe that he will do justice to what he has done. No. Okay. It's just a few of them. They are giving a space at GSM market, which is not up to 10% of those people who were displaced. The most recent one is after the one of 28th February, May 2025. It was acknowledged as usual. It was then we now had a letter from the other state government, Office of the Governor, Special Advisor on Trade, Commerce and Industry. The theme of the letter is, dear esteemed representatives, the imperative of directing an immediate stop to further work at remodeling of Ekeoha Shopping Centre until fundamental issues are addressed. That was where they highlighted that His Excellency have received our letter and he has directed that we should come for a meeting at the office of the Chief of Staff on 16th June for us to now discuss our concerns. So that is the situation for now. Well, I have gone through it. When I saw the hunter of a man, Pascal Dudo, I knew he was just reading a script that was written to him. The fact remains that the allegations are baseless. And of course, there is no way at my level I can condescend to that very level of going to negotiate with Rhino Homes to give me a place where I will now have to go and build. The fact remains that I don't even know the man of the chief executive of Rhino Homes. I only met him once in Umuahia. The guy described him as another Dimbas that wants to manipulate the traders. Everybody laughed because I knew the struggle to wrestle out that market from Dimbas and the role I played to make sure that that market was surviving today. So that was when I saw him. All our meetings in the tripartite committee meeting, we have invited him on more than 3 occasions to come and be part of the meeting. And then let us know actually his vision for that very market. It's not those very meetings, and he did not come. I wonder whom I will go and discuss with. Is it the boys he kept at the side, which are people, his paid staffs, that I will go and of course, I want to assure you that I'm not idle, because who alleges has to prove. I've already discussed the issue with my brothers, and at the appropriate time, if they don't apologize for that very malicious statement which they made against me, I think they will face a libel suit.
The chairman or the grand patron already have said it more than enough, but I want to chip in one of the days. I remember one of the days we went to see the chairman concerning this very memorandum of agreement. We had a meeting, the 7 members of the tripartite committee. That was when we all agreed before we take this ready to a lawyer to draft to help us to put it in order. So just like somebody asking a question and said, are you aware of so video? Into that very video, there's a comment they made. So we all agreed on this. And the chairman, even the grand patron, took the letter to the memorandum of agreement to his lawyer, as if that he didn't get our consent before he took the letter, the memorandum of agreement to the lawyer. We all agreed and said we are not going to exceed on 6 million naira. On that very day of meeting, normally they give us a notice for a meeting for some time. On his own, he said he's not away, he's not around. There's no way he will give us a notice for a meeting less than 48 hours for us to start preparing. I didn't even have the data. I saw that very notice for the meeting, that same date that the meeting is taking. So I didn't even bother to reply. I didn't go. I thought it's just a normal meeting. And when they came back, it was the next day we start seeing it online, our platform, that they have already signed the memorandum of agreement to the traders, which is very wrong. Since January, we are calling him for a meeting. The chairman, call the traders. Let us have a meeting with the traders. That is normal, what we normally do. And this will brief the traders how far we have gone on this very matter. But nothing like that I've ever done. Even when the grand patron discussed with him, telling him the date that was supposed to call for this very meeting, that's supposed to be 2 weeks on Saturdays. He all agreed and said, okay, go ahead. The grand patron passed a circular to the platform of Ekeoha for this very meeting on 31st. Less than few minutes, Honorable Uchoye, Steve Atach Uchoye, member representing Ataswetra, called him, trying to tell him not to go ahead with that very meeting. When he said no, the grand patron said that I had a consent with the chairman before calling for this very meeting. He said, no, don't go ahead with that very meeting. He said, I've already passed a circular to that meeting. It's not up to 20 minutes. We start getting a call from DSS and RRS for us not to go ahead with that meeting and come. They are inviting us for a meeting in their office. And when we eventually go to the secretariat, they have already locked the secretariat for us not to have a meeting. That is exactly what happened on that website. We now went back to the DSS and explained ourselves to them. After listening to us, they hear ourselves that we should not go ahead with the meeting. For the fact, the tripartite committee chairman, the essay to the governor, said they are going to come on Thursday, following week, for this very meeting. Every traders, they are happy for once. Let us ask them questions without it. But unfortunately, the meeting couldn't hold again. The letter the grand patron was quoting and said that they are inviting us for a meeting on 16th of May through the office of the chief of staff. He's the one that signed, and the letterhead behind his letterhead is from his office of the essay to the governor, not even the chief of staff. So personally myself, we are not even sure that chief of staff is the person that going to conduct for that very meeting or no. But notwithstanding, we are prepared to go for that very meeting next week. Thank you.
What I want the government to do, we are appealing, first and foremost, we thank the governor for stopping further demolition until the already demolished place is fixed completely. So we are appealing to the governor to look into the price determination of that shops. 10 million is too high for the shop owners who their shop were demolished to pay back to retake their shops. And the shops is substandard. It has no value. The height is very, very down. It's not up to 12 by 12 they promise us. Even the foundation, it will be over. It will be the foundation is down. Flood will enter the shops because the foundation is too low, unlike the previous ones that was being built. So we'll be happy if the Excellency will hear our cry And one problem we got to know that they are not feeding His Excellency with rightful informations. They are feeding him with lies. Up till now, I'm telling you authoritatively, the traders are unaware of the updates as regard to this model.
For further updates, when we saw the DSS, so explain to them what has happened. They promised that we should bring a petition which will get down to His Excellency. This was the petition we wrote, and the petition was signed by concerned traders of Ekeoha. We handed it over to them. And maybe these are one of the reasons where they now called us for a meeting on 16th. So this is update. Another thing that we need to let you know is the selling of funds by one Chidebere Uchomi, the younger brother of the member representing Aba South. Aba Central is busy. They are using him with the chairman of the market to be getting allocation papers of these traders that were displaced, and then letting them know that since you cannot pay for the new rate, it's better you surrender your allocation paper, and they are giving a battery of 1 million. People in frustration are now surrendering their allocation papers to them, which they have some motive of using that very allocation paper to acquire those shops that have been built. So these are what we now request for a full-scale investigation where people will come and testify. A lot of anomalies are going on in that market, and it is only His Excellency that will save us from this very inhuman treatment which we have been meted to in that very market.